Sejuani. So Splyce now need to think about the Shen or the LeBlanc. Those are the two bans they had last time. They could only have one this.
Ooh.
Ryze is left open this time. That was the change when they saw the Kali ban. Instead of banning Ryze here in the third one like they did in the last game, they leave it open and they grab it.
But this just means that Splyce can go for the Cassio once again. I feel like they need to put high priority in getting it in the draft early on. They did go for the Syndra in game one, and while it worked initially during the laning phase, they weren't able to find that closeout at the very end of it.
Gragas once again. It's been a very good pick for Cersei in this series, makes a lot of sense to grab it. Braum has normally been the other choice right here, but the Alistar is available, and instead of picking the Braum, they say this is our answer to Braum, and it's going to be our answer to Alistar as well, but I still think you could play Alistar against Morgana.
I actually really like the Braum here if you are Schalke. It's
Definitely
worked
the
so
Braum
well
too.
into the Gragas as well. Like, it's not great into the Morgana in lane, but Vander's shown us how consistent he can be on that Braum.
And the Kai'Sa.
Oh, they're just going straight for the hyper carry once again for upset. If it worked for him game 4, why not give it another go in game 5? Schalke already making their intentions clear.
So, do we get the mid lane pick from Niski?
I think we should, man. I think you should just lock in the Cassio now. Get yourself a strong, confident matchup, because you know if you don't pick it, they're just going to ban it away.
Here's a problem. If you do pick it, Schalke can put Ryze top lane.
They
true.
can,
The option is there for them to do it.
but Splyce also get the counter pick.
Instead, they're going to go for the Gnar, so they are waiting
Interesting.
for that next rotation.
Do they just ban away the Maokai now? Do they consider it enough of a threat that it's worth taking off the board, or do you just leave it open?
The Poppy is also there. Do you want to give him game 5 Poppy?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Chachi has shown himself a very good Poppy player. There's the Cho'Gath ban that has been consistent for Splyce across the course of this series. Now, Schalke looking for their bans. AD carries and those mid laners. You can't pick Cassio anymore. It is banned away.
Syndra is then the other one that's been picked against the Ryze, and if you play around the lane, it's successful. If you don't, however, we've seen the Ryze together with his jungler to shut you down.
Yeah. In the side lane, he's definitely a lot more potent, but right now you'd expect the Poppy to be banned away from the side of Splyce. Don't put it in the hands of Chachi so that he can play another Maokai game.
It is a Maokai ban
They're
instead.
leaving it open.
They're happy with the Gnar into the Poppy here. Chachi doesn't normally care about what matchup he's playing it in, because it's all the value it brings outside. Another thing I want to highlight, Amazing is not getting either Trundle or Sejuani here. Gragas has also been taken away from him. He's not done super well when he had to go outside his comfort zone, but he needs to do that here in the last game.
So they just go for the Cogmore again here?
Well, there's a lot of different options for Splyce and for Schalke. They're looking at an AD carry and a mid laner for these final two picks. Looks like they might be leaving mid for last. Schalke need their top laner.
Oh, they actually pick it.
Going to be the Tristana here for Kobe. Once again, not the Cogmore, Tristana for them. Poppy locked in for Schalke. They just have that jungler to round this out, but it's going to be something new unless Amazing wants to go back towards that Olaf that we saw earlier on.
Is this 5 different AD carries now for Kobe so far in this series? A part of me thinks that it is. Off the top of my head, I can't quite remember, but he's played so many different champions so far in this series.
It is, yes.
Yeah, so like now he's bringing out a different one in game 5. And
Ooh, what do we get in the jungle here? It's a Jarvan.
Dre.
Unless it's the Poppy jungle, which we did see from Vitality.
yeah, but to me it just feels like that the Jarvan would be an amazing champion.
I'm saying it's Jarvan top, Poppy jungle right here.
I'm gonna say Jarvan jungle.
There we go.
I'm going to side with Vedius.
Let's wait and see then.
Cool, we will find out.
Final pick though, they need the mid laner. Options are Syndra as one, unless he has another pocket pick that we don't know about.
Oh, he's going back. She got nerfed. It's not been seen this series, but in the last game, game 5, he goes back to the Zoe.
Throughout the regular season, he won more games on Zoe than all of his other champions combined. He is incredibly comfortable on Zoe. You do have to remember that she was changed on 8.16. We'll break that down a little bit more when we get on into the game.
Let's see. Also, what happens with the Poppy here? I mean, if you have Chachi, you probably do give him the champion, but the Jarvan in the jungle would then be a big, big surprise as well. But Amazing, he's kind of running out of champions on his side. And you guys were correct. It's going to be Chachi grabbing the Poppy. Let's see what Amazing can do. I understand. I know, it's just the Jarvan top lane against, you know, as a setup you have against a Gnar into a Poppy gank.
Sure.
Like, It looked really good when Vitality did it.
Chachi, you know what I mean?
I know. You guys are right.
Game 5, Schalke looking to get themselves the 5th and final win. Splyce looking to cause, I think many can call it an upset, even though many expected this to be a close series.
Yeah, I think a lot of people looked at it saying these teams are very close to each other. The standings didn't really matter going into it, but this Zoe pick from Niski, it is really, really risky now after more nerfs have happened. Ryze has been a huge power pick in this series so far. And I don't think Niski can do anything in the laning phase specifically against Nukeduck, and that's where they've actually been able to target him and try and get him behind.
I'm really excited to see the jungle impact in this game. Amazing versus Xerxes. So far, Xerxes kind of had Amazing's number. And both Xerxes has been playing a lot through this mid lane. Niski, the big carry for Splyce so far in this series. Can he do it again? Can he do it on his comfort pick?
This is it. 2 teams forged to take the title here in Europe. 10 players who've made it to the brink of glory, but who have never claimed an EU championship for themselves. One final game to decide who goes through to semis and who crashes out in the quarterfinals.
And we gotta talk about Zoe, because remember, on this patch, she did get a couple of nerfs, a lot of them being to the amount of damage that she does on her passive. On top of that, the AP ratio on her Spell Thief was reduced as well, so really big hits, but the poke still exists. But the thing is, even though these nerfs exist, you still have to respect the stats that Niski has been able to put at so far this split on this champion.
And I guess that's why in a game 5 he goes back to it. Like, he ends up last picking his mid lane, even though he saw the first pick Ryze on the side of Schalke. They still need to see if it was going to be mid or not. With that Zoe thing though, just to quote the patch notes, the goal was to make sure that if she doesn't actually hit her abilities, she will deal less damage, and that's where the point and click with the ulti and then the damage from the W was nerfed. So as you highlighted correctly there, if you actually land the long-range poke, it's still absolutely insane damage.
Yes, it still really, really hurts. And one thing that you guys would have noticed is that in lane, Niski often falls behind in this matchup, and that's because Zoe can get pressured in early levels, especially by champions like Ryze, with his just spam ability of the EQ combo. But so far in these early levels, he's been able to put a decent amount of damage down onto Nukeduck, and trading back and forth with the Schalke mid lane.
The other person we already highlighted, the Jarvan pick, being a surprise here again. Amazing, kind of running out of normal comfort picks.
Yeah.
What can he actually do in this game here? We know the ganks can be powerful on his side, but we also know that if you fall behind, you only go in on the Jarvan. You're not really getting out often, unless you can flash ult and then combo away, which is something we have seen really good Jarvan players do in big moments. But a lot of pressure is on Amazing, because this jungle matchup so far, Xerxes has been looking fantastic.
But some of those combos that you can do still exist between the Jarvan and Poppy. We saw it from Vitality in their tiebreaker game versus G2, I think it was, where the Jarvan sets up the ulti and then the Poppy rams them into the wall. You can then have the Brawn follow up as well. And I feel like that this composition that Schalke have drafted themselves synergizes quite nicely together. The only difficult part is the Gragas ultimate for the disengage, the Tristana ultimate for the disengage, the Morgana Black Shield to make that single target lockdown that much harder.
Hopefully he's gun his ulti down in time, because it's going to be the main engage on the side of Amazing, then follow up from Chachi and Van, as you highlighted, Verius. The Tristana pick as well. It's something where some AD carries have said, you know, during post-game lobby and said this champion's just not good right now. Like, she's just not strong enough. She needs too much time before she can actually do anything. The game will be over by then. But it's been a series where AD carries have gotten to 3-4 items every single time, and that's probably why they go for it. First gank from Amazing.
Snuck away from Vision. Chachi with the hammer shock in.
Oh,
flash
baby.
away, but the chase from Amazing is perfect. First blood Schalke.
That's what you want to see.
From Amazing, sets up the flash EQ and lands the knockup. Odoamne, he couldn't jump out because Vizichachi did have his W up, the little shield that appears around him that prevents you from dashing out, which means that he was forced to flash early. Amazing knew where he was going to go, and just really good predictions set up by the duo. First blood goes to Schalke.
Double flash invested by Schalke, however. Let's see if that will punish them in the coming minutes. Cersei has not shown himself yet. He's doing the same thing. Very long first clear. Does not instantly go back for boots whenever he can. So again, he's not able to use Predator on his first gank. He's sitting topside at the moment. Chachi, no flash from before. Might just wait and see if Amazing shows up again, and then he turns it around, seeing as the wave is pushed right now down to Chachi's side. He just cancel recall. Chachi, will he step near the brush or not?
Looks like he's not going to do it for the moment. Just waiting for this minion wave to push in towards him, as you say. Oh, Xerxes comes
small
in.
one.
Yeah, it hits the cannon minion. That's just going to push the wave a little bit more.
That's a lot of time invested.
Yes.
Sitting topside right now. Now he's actually going to recall.
Buying times for the camps to respawn. Gromp has just showed up on the map, but my bigger issue is that you're just sharing experience with your top laner, and when you're already behind, denying him XP is not exactly what you want to do, and the likelihood of a successful gank there, I felt, was quite slim. So don't fully agree with the time investment, but regardless, it does look like that for the time being.
Here's the thing, though.
Nice early lead.
We call Xerxes a fantastic jungler if Amazing shows up for a quick counter gank. And he's sitting in that brush and he's like, oh yeah, my Gnar is pushing without
That's
flash.
a good point.
Smack, we now kill Amazing when he jumps in, but obviously it didn't happen. Amazing just farmed and recalled.
Right. I think that's fair.
But yeah, staying and cancelling recall over and over and over ended up wasting a lot of time.
It definitely did. Amazing, the first jungler to strike in this game, but always have to keep our eyes on Xerxes and have to look at some of these lane matchups as well. Very interested by the Tristana in the bottom lane. Not an AD carry we've seen a lot recently. It felt like perhaps there were still other options for Splyce, but they opted into this Tristana.
So Kai'Sa, in terms of early levels, doesn't really trade that well. She's very much based around scaling. So against champions that also scale, ideally she doesn't want to be against things that push. Things like Tristana have a lot of wave clear thanks to the E, and Tristana also had a couple of buffs a couple patches ago, I believe, as well. So her early game is a little bit stronger, but at the same time, it's just very much a hang on, gank
top lane
with the top
again.
lane.
Looking for it, Xerxes pops the Predator, Chachi with a hammer knockback, gonna turn back around on towards Odo. Amazing came here in time, Xerxes has to flash away. Amazing still not level 6, cannot pop the Cataclysm.
I think they were not ready for Chachi to hit level 6 just when the gank was about to start. Bit of trading bot lane here. Nothing ends up happening, but him hitting level 6 and then being able to actually get Xerxes away certainly meant there was enough time to get a trade onto Odo Amna here, and in the end, it's a flash from Splyce's side. Schalke right now are winning this top side, and that Poppy was not banned in the second phase. They banned Cho'Gath and Maokai.
Yep.
And right now, that's definitely backfiring.
Who bans Maokai, man? But I guess they felt that the threat was just too big. It's not like Chachi didn't have impact on that champion. His flanks were good, his use of the ultimate was good, he was often winning lane into the Gnar as well. You have to give a lot of praise for Chachi and how he has played in this series, but you've now given him his comfort pick. You've given him very early access to early gold thanks to that first blood that was picked up in the top side. And Schalke, they're pretty happy with how the game is going. They're more than content to just let the game scale with the tier on the rise and upset on the Kai'Sa.
And Nuke Dog is not behind, which has been a problem in some of the games. Either losing lane in terms of CS or getting ganked early and dying. Amazing is top again. Good ward from Odo Amna to actually notice what's going on. While this is happening, we have seen the Tristana push on the bottom side. You do have the range support on your side. Early boots is something you always saw Reckless do on Tristana, because your entire goal is to be able to actually push away faster, more than necessarily auto-winning a trade by running a lot of raw AD on your first buy. So this is a decent start for Copy. Most likely going Storm Racer first is what we see.
Upset has to flash away here. He went up into the river, had no vision control over it at all to get the honey fruit. And then Niski and Xerxes just collapsed, so Upset now down a summoner spell.
Could be expensive, because again, we're seeing Splyce push on this bottom side. This might be the goal to get the first turret down there.
Cataclysm on Xerxes, but he is able to dodge away from it. Vander with a chase as well, but Xerxes gets to safety. Niski's going to land the sleep, and that Paddle Star is going to hurt. Not enough to take Amazing down, but you can see the damage Zoe still does if she hits all her skills.
Yeah, so the poke on the Q obviously still very relevant, but as you rightly said, it was very close. So Upset forced into a position where he had to use his flash because he thought that he was safe to move up into the river. He wasn't expecting Xerxes to come down as well, and this altered the path that he took to get out. On top of that, when Xerxes tried to invade, if it wasn't for the terrain that was in the way, there's a good chance that he would have been locked in by that Cataclysm from Amazing, but he was just kind of edged onto the outside, which just naturally forced him out of the pit.
Nuke Dog is here. Odo Amna is fairly low. Xerxes is on his way.
Will Xerxes get here in time? It looks like he's doing the red buff instead. Nuke Duck maybe just looking to tower dive Odo Amna here. Gonna go into that mini Gnar, and Xerxes jumps across the wall towards where the Krugs would be. Niski's on his way up as well. It looks like Schalke will accept they can't find the fight they want yet.
Xerxes read the situation again here, knowing, okay, they're going for my top laner, I need to protect him. We can't afford to lose another wave top. Odo Amna's TP is not fully ready to get instantly back to lane in case he dies. So I think him being on top side there, protecting his top laner is important. Nuke Dog ends up not getting anything.
So just a bit of farming in the early game. 10 minutes in, and Schalke sit on a 1.4 thousand gold lead. And I feel like a lot of that does currently sit on top of the top laner, currently 400 in the head, but also amazing in the jungle. And he is a player that we've been watching throughout this series so far. Has had mixed performances, but so far on the Jarvan is able to find that first blood, but we're still keeping an eye on, can he maintain this kind of even or slightly ahead state? Because if you are on the Jarvan, Fisher talked about it earlier, falling behind can be playing the game very difficult.
Or you just die so quickly.
Yes.
A great thing for Schalke as well is when Amazing's ahead, they're much more likely to win. On average in wins, he's about 800 gold ahead at the 15-minute mark, so do want to keep our eyes on that. He is a key catalyst for the team in terms of whether they win or lose based on those early game stats.
See top lane, Xerxes around again for Vizicachi.
Flash in, Redemption used as well. Xerxes on the chase. Chachi's going to flash the wall and get himself to safety.
The Gragas ulti just a little too slow. If it had come out a little earlier, they might have been able to interrupt the flash from Vizicachi or prevent him from being close enough to the wall to escape, but he does get out with his life. Flash for flash traded in the top side of the map, and Poppy Chachi still lives another day.
Going to be able to knock Odo into this wall as well. The trading from this Poppy, it's something Chachi does so well, is just consistently trading. Now, Kobe and Kasing maybe baited in here. The Cataclysm comes out, the flash away, Kasing on the chase, but Buster Shot will knock them back for the moment, and Upset does not have the damage that he needs to catch out Kasing.
Managed to get the flash from Kasing right there.
That second redemption from Zoe.
Yeah, Niski is definitely helping here with a lot of healing, flying around left and right.
But really good disengage from Kobe in the bot, but now Amazing making his way towards mid. Won't be able to find anything though, as Niski playing pretty defensive in the middle lane.
Yeah, that was a really big investment from Amazing. Flash and ulti down now on his side, and just got the flash from Kasing, and that's it. Obviously a good recall from his bot lane, but not able to secure a turret, not able to get a kill for Upset either, so Kobe remains ahead. Can TP back to the lane as well. Mid has just been a fairly even farming, but Nukdog is the one kind of looking to roam on his side, and now with everyone recalling on the side of Splyce, they are giving up the Rift Herald. It's a full team reset. And then you do not manage to stop anything on the map.
Rift Herald being started, Vizicachi also going to use his teleport towards the top side so he can get back to lane a little bit quicker. And the game staying very even. Reminder guys, this is final game of this best of 5 series. It's been extremely back and forth between the two teams, but Divisha, we were saying it just after the last game. They're basically the same team. They have equally skilled players, they have a wide range of styles, they have a bunch of different champions that they've brought out. There are always big carries that you're keeping your eyes on, and they've just been so similar in how they found a lot of their wins.
So Vander runs into the Dragon Pit.
He's still in there.
They assume he's going to jump the wall, so they're like, oh yeah, it's fine, we'll leave him. And Upset has to come all the way around to let Vander out. Great. It's how you support your support right there. Yeah, good stuff all around. Chachi's going to get walloped underneath this tower. Pops down the Keeper's Verdict just to
such an
answer
annoying
Odo
champion.
as well.
Oh, you think you're going to kill me? No. Goodbye. He's made great use of that ultimate throughout the regular season, stopping multiple big objectives from being secured by the enemy and helping secure it for his own team. We talked a lot about how it is a scary champion for him. So far, he's winning the lane pretty well, as Niski now finding a little bit more comfort.
Oh, he's on a turret.
Rooted underneath the tower. Should be able to get away, but the final shot did do a huge amount of work. You see Nukdog a little bit nervous about that because Niski did have the cleanse if he wanted to get away.
Here's the thing though, like Niski's getting out of this lane pretty well on Zoe. Like a lot of the nerfs really also hurt her early game, but he's going even here. Nukdog has not been able to go and impact lanes too much on the side, and this Zoe big one should get Luden's Echo. Again, the poke is still insane. Amazing is back bot lane. He did not get in range of Kasing, the guy without flash. That means he's not getting anything. Second player on bottom side.
Yeah, I like the positioning there from Kasing, staying slightly further back in the lane. He didn't have vision. He's already seen this gank once before, and he will not let the same trick happen twice.
But we've had a couple of early games now being pretty insane with a lot of kills left and right, a lot of fighting. Now it's calmed down here in game 5. Very natural that no one wants to be the one pulling the trigger, and maybe it backfires. Cersei is top again. The junglers really want to just walk into lanes. And
Good reaction.
Both the junglers have been going for the ganks, and they just can't quite find the exact gank they want. Kobe here has been able to harass down this tower in the bottom lane. That's first turret. Rift Herald's going to get this mid tower down as well, or close enough. Niski's going to keep his tower up just for the moment. Nukdog and Vander in the mid lane. You can see the credits are coming in from Xerxes as well, but just using it to distract and dissuade Nukdog and Vander from pushing any further.
I thought that Niski was going to lose his tower there, but I like the use of the Rift Herald from Amazing because he saw jungler top. He knew that Splyce were pushing in bot and there would only be Niski in mid who doesn't really have the wave clear to stop. So they were hoping to trade towers in this situation, but weren't quite able to pull it off. And even at a tower deficit, Schalke still hold on to the gold lead.
Very big deal in a slow game, however, that Kasing and Kobe are able to get that bot lane turret down. Yeah, sure, Kasing lost his flash early against Amazing. Didn't stop them from pushing. They reacted well to the second gank. Kobe right now has been able to just perma-shove in this lane with the range support next to him. He's been able to win it. So this Tristana pick, Stormrazor is the first choice into most likely a rapid fire cannon and then an eye edge. And then suddenly you have the 3 items. You don't have full crit yet, but you are then getting to a point where you can actually deal some serious damage. And because every game has gone towards the late game, it actually makes a lot of sense when you can do well in lane by also picking the Tristana here. So it's actually been successful for Splyce's bot lane.
I also think it's a pretty big deal that Odoame has not lost his top tower after we've seen a couple ganks invested towards the top side, because it means that this swap can happen. Splyce still hold the tempo advantage, and now they can group up towards top, start threatening that top tier 1.
So Schalke with a pretty substantial gold lead a little bit earlier on, but the binding is going to land there. Keeper's verdict does not, and Splyce find the kill they want in top lane.
Looked like he got blocked by the black shield right there, and Kasing ends up landing the binding again, and that's a kill now for Splyce, where it felt like Chachi was actually safe and knew what was going on, but then he went back and got knocked in as well.
Drowsy.
Shouldn't be enough damage to get rid of him, but they do get the tower in the mid lane as well. Kobe's still free just to rain damage down on that top tower. TP used bot lane. Kaiser's going to TP top as well. And tower down to about a quarter HP, so really good map play here from Splyce.
Just trading right now. Obviously Upset using his TP does cost him quite a lot. Once Kobe can use his mid lane turret for Schalke after the play they did earlier with the Rift Herald into then a push now, but Kobe just continues to farm and push, man. That Zeal is soon going to be upgraded, and the Zeta carry is going to get strong.
Yeah, Kobe will be one of the big win conditions, but Niski in these, just in any team fight on this champion is so impressive to watch. I remember back when he played against Fnatic, he did not die in that game. That was a 50-minute game, and he did not die a single time. He was one of the key reasons why they were even able to win out on a lot of those late game fights alongside Kobe, and now 2 good scaling champions working together to try and make that happen.
I mean, so he's definitely seen Kasing here.
Yeah, they're aware that this swap has happened. It's a very standard move, take bot tower, swap to top side, and Chachi just, I don't know, he oversteps. He thinks maybe he can get a return kill onto Odo and then get away, but...
I mean, he thinks that obviously he can ult Kobe and Kasing away, and then Odo is separated.
And Amazing is there as well.
Yeah, he had people coming up, so he saw the big play.
Yeah.
The big play didn't happen.
No.
He died. Almost cost his top lane turret as well. It's actually, again, in a slower game, and I go back to it, like, small moments like that can end up being pretty huge, because Splyce being able to get another advantage for Kobe just means he gets to that 3rd item a lot faster, and that's when he can actually do something.
Similar to like when the Rift Herald didn't take down the mid tower, they wouldn't have had to have people invested in the mid lane. They could have played a little bit more around the map. It can be those tiny, tiny moments. It's a game of inches when it comes down to a game 5. 18 minutes in, basically even between these 2 teams. We're starting to see those first, second items completed. Seraphs for Nuke Duck, Ludens for Niski. Both AD carries building up towards that second item as well.
Amazing is hanging around the top side. He wants to clear out some of this vision to make life a little bit easier for Schalke. And let's remember that this is Game 5. It's been such a tense series. Nobody wants to be the person that makes that crucial mistake that could swing the game either way. We're going to have some pretty epic late game fights like we have had throughout this series. Schalke versus Splyce. Extremely tense here in this final game.
Especially when you have an organization that's in its first ever playoffs, trying to prove they belong amongst the top 4 in Europe, trying to prove they belong as one of the teams named alongside G2, alongside Fnatic, alongside Splyce. Schalke trying to prove it in the mid lane. They cannot take down Niski yet, but it does give them a little bit of pressure towards this tower.
Niski saved the flash right there. Nuke tried to predict where he was juking, ended up not actually hitting him. He's going straight bottom side though. Odoamne has not been enjoying the trades against the Poppy.
And Romo does have the flash, will jump away first. There's the flash as well, trying to get in the midst of this minion wave. Amazing on his way as well. Odo trying to get the mega, can't get it in time. Zutty turns it back around. Amazing tagging up the tower. The explosive cast knocks Nuke Duck back. Flashes away from the minions. Didn't want to get blocked in there because the teleport comes out. Realm Warp, they all take it to safety, and Kobe's teleport is wasted.
So,
Oh, Kasing's dead in the top lane.
Okay, so Schalke just quickly find themselves 2 kills. They shut down Odo Omne. They take a pick onto Kasing after the AD carry TP's bot. And now Splyce are kind of left with their trousers down by the knees.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do.
Kasing didn't get the message that Kobe was going bot lane. In the end, we can see Vander use flash on his side, so he must have flashed straight onto the Morgana, and in the end, they secured a kill for Upset. That's now top lane turreted. Before we mentioned how some of the small things went in favor of Splyce, and they managed to get a lot for Kobe specifically. Quick turnaround right there. Kill for Nuke, kill top lane for the AD carry. This is obviously the play where Domna has been taking a bit of damage. He's forced back because there's no mid lane control after Amazing. Forced Zoe to recall. And just a quick play. Nuke in the end actually managed to not get knocked into the turret with the Gragas ult, but then he gets minion blocked, and if he entered, he would have died. This is TP in the middle of the lane!
Kasing's like, excuse me,
Oh, he flash shields him!
Shields.
Oh, I feel bad for him.
Kasing's just like, go TP, I will protect you. He's like, wait, no, don't leave me, don't leave me. And then Kobe's like, oh no, there's not even any farm for me to pick up bot lane. He just ends up going back to base.
Oh, but never TP in the middle of the lane if you don't know where the enemy is at.
Anyway, Schalke find themselves another... They find their first Drake of the game. Splyce now securing a top lane tower. Schalke with a pretty healthy gold advantage towards the top side of the map. And things still relatively even, but Schalke kind of edging that slight control so far.
I mean, that was a huge moment right there. 2 kills for themselves. Top lane turret as well. Based on a mid lane trade into a bot lane play, and then a TP in the middle of the lane from Kobe that sacrifices his support. Flash now gone as well from Kasing. Kind of looking for Splyce in their way back in the game here.
Whoa.
It feels like they need a 3rd item on the Tristana, and then Niski is not able to get in the game just yet.
So I still feel like the Kobe is...
He can get engaged onto Nuke like this, but Nuke knocked into the Cataclysm wall, keeps himself safe. The sleep comes out, Kobe. He's going to be able to do a lot of damage if he can get a few auto attacks down. You see, Chachi actually used his Keeper's Verdict onto Odo down towards that bottom side. Niski jumps forward once again. Splyce, only 3,000 gold behind. Yes, they have lost out in the last couple of minutes, but it is not a monumental advantage yet for Schalke.
Big forced fight there from the side of Splyce, trying to get a kill down onto Nuke. The Seraph was completed, so he had that big shield to help keep him alive. But unfortunately, Splyce, they couldn't find anything off the back of it.
No one can hit Niski with skill shots.
No,
It's
pretty
good
way
as
too
well.
fast.
Cersei used his flash before you. Nuke ended up not having to blow anything to get out of it. Splyce tried to get a quick pick back.
But also, yeah, Division, to go back onto your point, I still feel like that when you look at Kobe, this guy's level 12. He has like a 1,000 gold lead over his AD carry counterpart. And to me, he still feels like a really big threat in a big win condition. So Splyce don't feel completely out of the game yet, just
Of
because
course.
of how well he's
I'm
doing
saying
so far.
right now, before he gets his eye itch, you're not super scared of him. Chachi
Okay.
can literally stand in front of him for like a minute and be like, yeah, just keep shooting, dude.
That's fair.
I don't really care about you. Where on the other side, Rageblade completed for Upset. Like, Schalke are looking for more fights now. They've been trying to force a few on the bottom side before this, and Kobe will be insane. Like, he will get to his IH fairly soon in this game. He's done really well for himself. He's just not there yet. And I still also feel with Niski, like, Zoe right now is all about landing that one big Q onto the enemy backline. If that doesn't happen, it's all on Kobe to deal damage, and he still needs his late game items.
All right, so Odo Omni is a little overextended in the bot lane. Note how Splyce don't have pressure in mid, and that means that he's going to get collapsed on.
Yeah, forcing a fight down towards this bottom lane. Chachi there, just looking for the knock into the wall. Odo's done. Once again, a little bit overextension. All it takes is an inch. And Schalke are willing to capitalize on any mistake you make.
0-3-0 now for Odo Omni, and he didn't need to be there. There was nothing that pressure was gaining for his team. He could have just backed off and allowed the rest of Splyce to push mid back out, and then they could have generated pressure elsewhere. But he ends up getting caught off, and now...
Oh, the step house wasn't into
got
the
the binding.
Oh, there's the Keeper's Verdict. The sleep! Not quite enough. Niski doesn't have the paddle star either to get that final shot down.
I mean, Chachi can feel very confident on Poppy, but Kasing is landing bindings. Like, he will hit you and keep you under that turret. That's a flash blow now, because Chachi tried to play a little bit smart and zone away Splyce. He just got instantly knocked back into the turret. So a summoner gone. But man, again, you gotta look at that second ban phase and not removing a Poppy that they really don't have an answer for in this game. They've tried and tried and tried, and they killed him once, but that's it. Otherwise, he's outplayed almost everything.
It seems like they're looking for Odo to be the answer in sort of the later game. If you can get towards that, you know, second item, maybe a Blade of the Ruin King next, just going for the pure split push Nah here, but it's not working for them because whenever he overextends, the Ryze just realm warps in behind them.
I mean, the problem is that he's overextending without proper pressure from the rest of his team. If they send 2 members bots when Splyce have mid pushed up, then they can threaten things like Baron, or they can threaten the mid tower. They need to have options if Schalke are going to commit that many members to the bot side, and right now, Splyce have no options, so Auto Omni is just dying for free.
And that's kind of why we're waiting for that item for Copy here. It's too hard for Niski to, on his own, fully set something up, because they have vision of him on the map, typically when he moves down. And Kasing binding into poke from Zoe can be a big one. You need 1 kill for Splyce, and you buy even more time for yourself, but they're behind right now. They're waiting on that AD carry, and as we said before, Schalke don't really care about any of the carries on Splyce's side yet.
Seems like both teams happy just to scale up a little bit more for the moment. Only 3,000 gold between the two of them still. 25 minutes in, once again an incredibly close game between these two teams. A place in Madrid, a place in the semi-finals on the line. And you can sense just how much these two teams want it.
And if Schalke win this series, they will play against Vitality. And if Splyce win it, they will take on Fnatic in the semi-final. Tough road towards the final for either team. It's Vitality and Fnatic clinching first and second. For now, though, we are looking at the split push setup. The Ryze once again in the side lane. We've seen this all series long. Niski's done it, Nuknuk's done it. And Schalke trying to use the mid lane control to then move to the side lane.
Splyce having pushed us all the way to Game 5 here, defied a lot of expectations. A lot of people thought that Schalke would take the win. We have now seen Kobe get that Infinity Edge. He can start shredding through this front line of Schalke if they find an opportunity to fight.
But Schalke are doing what they've done so well this series and setting up really good vision around the top side of the map once again. Note how they have generated pressure in top lane, bot lane, and keep the mid wave pushed up. And this is just giving them full information around this big Baron objective. Now, their Baron taking speed is pretty quick. Schalke have a really big potential to utilize this objective and force Splyce into a situation that they don't want to be in.
Can they do it? Game 4 they did. They succeeded around the Baron. Game 2 they did not. When they had the massive goal lead, the Vayne was scaling on the other side. Now it's the Tristana scaling. Luckily for Schalke, the adaptation they made was they started drafting the Kaiser on their side so they could actually match AD carry scaling in big late game team fights. And it means they're not as much on the clock as we saw in some of the earlier games where they definitely struggled playing around the advantage. But Game 4, they did change their part and they actually showed us some Baron setups into late game team fights.
Late game insurance was something that we did talk about to Visio, and it's working out nicely for Schalke so far. Zose is hanging around the bot side of the map, but Schalke have full vision control throughout the entirety of Splyce's jungle, and now they're looking for a collapse.
Amazing, maybe a little bit overstepped there, Kobe. Does do a little bit of damage with that 3-item Tristana, but on the other side, Upset sitting at 3 items as well. We've seen how strong his Kai'Sa can be just in the last game, picking off those key moments to engage.
And it's just so hard for Splyce and their comp right now. Like, they so badly want to do something, but they're not allowed to do it. They're losing side lanes both sides. They can't kill the Poppy. They can't really stop the Ryze 1v1. And mid lane Copy, now he's getting more items. He's still trying to match a Kai'Sa who presses Q in front of him, kills the entire wave, and then walks away. So the Tristana is not allowed to do anything yet, which is why one big late game moment seems to be what Splyce is banking on. And they've done this so many times in the past, but the Tristana pick has to pay off, because you're investing a lot into getting Copy ahead.
They're funneling so many resources into him now as well, giving him jungle camps, just making sure he gets all this mid lane farm. Corbett is going to be the big win condition for Splyce as we move into the 30-minute mark. Baron is still being started up, or taken control of rather, by Schalke. They're yet to lose this control since around the 20-minute mark, and they're just keeping pressure up all across the map.
Oh, Chachi's not a good spot at all. That's not where you want to be. Niski doesn't land the sleep, and Chachi's able to get himself away for the moment. Hammer Shock knocks back 2, and that is enough. Chachi escapes, but with a sliver of his life.
It is interesting that Schalke right now using Chachi topside He can go in and face take, yes, but he's the one with TP. Nukdog's cleanse on bottom side.
Upset's gonna flash for this! Oh, he goes in with the kill instinct, the wallop, the Nam into the wall, Upset! What have you done? He gets the kill, but Xerxes on the chase, and that's an AD carry down! Is that the moment that Splyce need to get back in this game?
Upset goes for a huge kill onto Odo Amne, but it's not going to result in anything. He burns his flash, he loses his life, and now look at the pressure that Splyce can generate. They have an AD carry primed and ready to push down these towers, and he has a minion wave in mid.
He went for a hero play, but it wasn't a hero moment. He didn't need to do any of that. He just wanted so badly to get that kill and then get the turret. Let's see what happens now.
Niski's still in the top lane. Schalke could have actually forced a fight in this 4v3. Unable to find the connection, but the game just exploded into life. And as you say, it wasn't a hero moment for Upset. He didn't need to make that big play.
God, that could have ended much worse than it did. Fortunately, the rest of Schalke were in a position to mitigate any kind of losses. They had top pushing in. There were plenty of people in mid to wave clear as well. So Schalke end up losing nothing off the back of that objective-wise, aside from the flash on their AD carry and his life.
And he got that last hit on Odamne killing him. So it wasn't Odamne with TP suddenly going towards the Baron in a 5 versus 4 situation. You get the replay here. This is why they kept Nukdog bot lane, to win the matchup against the Gnar and then set up a potential kill later. I guess he did tell his AD carry, hey, you should come bot lane and kill him. He didn't tell him he was actually stepping away and you didn't have to do it now. And in the end, Upset trades 1 for 1, but I much rather see the flash going on Odamne than on my AD carry.
But the important thing to note as well is that before that had even happened, the reason why Odo was that low is because he actually forced Nukdog back. Nukdog was extremely close to losing his life, and so he went back to base, and that's why Upset thought, I can just come in and clean up a kill, and then you end up in that situation. So, moving forward now, Schalke secure themselves the second Drake of the game. Cloud is the one.
Oh, can they find something? Looks like no. Remember, Xerxes right there without a flash. If Chachi actually gets onto him with the W active, Xerxes can't really get out in time. A tense moment around the mid lane. Splyce unable to defend, have not lost a tier 2 turret, despite sitting against a 1-3-1 setup for effectively 10 minutes. Not being able to push out any lane, they've still not lost a tier 2 turret, and that is a great sign for them in this potential late game moment.
You can see what Odo can do here with another wall up into the wall as well. Xerxes knocks back Chachi, but that's the tower going down in mid. Nukdog's up towards the top lane. And Splyce will just settle for the tower for the moment.
Splyce feeling more and more confident, just grouping up mid, forcing down the wave. And while Nukdog does sit on a side lane, note how he doesn't actually have teleport available to join these fights, which means that he needs to
he's staying around.
He's hanging around. But yeah, Splyce have regained full vision control around their top side. A lot of it comes off the back of Kobe now being able to push out mid and not being afraid of getting collapsed.
And as much as we draw attention to Kobe on the side of Splyce, I also want to talk about Niski. Still 0-0-0 in this game, but is now at 3 items on the Zoe. All it takes is one good Sleepy Trouble Bubble.
Yep.
All it takes is one big Paddle Star, and you are chunking out the health bars. If you hit it onto Upset, you may even be able to get that one shot. So there's a lot of opportunity here for Splyce to find the picks they need, especially since they are still only 3,000 gold behind.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. They did not really get super punished for having the Tristana here, who needed time to get to 3-4 items, for picking Zoe, who is much weaker in the early game, and again also need a bunch of items before her burst. Really matters, because Schalke did not aggressively go towards the tier 2 turrets except for that one play bot lane. And it means now that you're only down about 3k gold, Baron has still not been taken, so it's a wide open game, and your AD carry is actually ahead in items right now.
Late game fights, boys. Look at the levels. 16 for both top laners, 18 for Nukdog. Niski on track to hitting that relatively soon. Upset 16, Kobe 16. 3 items, 4 items being completed across the board. It's going to be all about the positioning of these AD carries. How much damage can they deal? Which front line dies first? Can Niski land that poke? The Baron now being started from Schalke. Splyce currently have no vision.
Yeah, remember, Odamne is not super tanky with this build. It's a lot of focus on the 1v1. Still with the Mega Gnar, of course, he was still alive for a while, but Baron is dropping down. Xerxes nearby.
Baron's already at 4,000. Catacomb comes in from Amazing. They don't even need him. The knockback, that's Baron to Schalke. Great call from them to secure that. Splyce have no answer.
A Poppy Chachi classic. This guy just knocks the jungler away. Schalke shreds through the Baron, and that is a clean objective picked up for the side of Schalke.
This Poppy pick has been so huge for Schalke, especially this game here. It was a slow setup around the Baron. It didn't look like a whole lot at first, but because Splyce could not react quick enough, when they try to go for a steal. They were not even allowed in the pit.
So where is Morgana in this? Because if Xerxes gets the black shield, he's able to get out, but nowhere near. He doesn't have that support. The Jarvan goes in to just keep him preoccupied. He uses the EQ combo to then get into the pit, and Schalke, with a smite and with no jungler to contest, secure themselves the Baron. Now look to play the 1-3-1.
Yeah, just like it felt like Splyce had just managed to even out the game. They were in equal control now, but Schalke needed that one moment at the Baron to secure it. I wanted to see. Xerxes is the one I'm looking at to break this 1-3-1, because he's the engage on the Gragas. Can he do it? Can he get the kill onto Nukeduck?
So Nukeduck thought he was sneaky, but the Baron buff showed them that he was here, and Splyce are going to find this pick in the bottom lane. Nukeduck is done, and Splyce shut down part of the 1-3-1.
Now Kobe quickly goes back to base to rejoin his team, but Odo in some trouble.
He needs to escape. Glacial Fisher does come out. Upset on the chase onto that backline. Squishy now, and Upset will shut him down for the moment. The turn back, though, perhaps the sleep. Look at Kobe. Is he gonna go? He does! Upsets the superior AD carry today, and Schalke find 2 in the mid lane.
But man, the play bot lane was perfect to stop Nukeduck from pushing, but then Odo Amne gets completely caught in the mid lane. Flash is too late, overextends for no reason, and we're suddenly watching Schalke without their mid laner pushing in.
They have the Baron buff. Upset is still alive, and Schalke looking to secure their first inhibitor of the game. This is the final game of the series. Winner guarantees a trip to Madrid and will look to make their way into the semi-finals.
There goes the inhibitor. Amazing, pushing up towards the top lane as well. They'll get another tower out of this. Still a minute left on the Baron as well. 35 minutes in. Schalke have broken the base. They have an 8,000 gold lead.
And when you have these games that are so close, we're getting to the late game, both teams are taking their time, you cannot afford to make crucial mistakes. Your team just did everything perfect. They killed the split pusher in Nukeduck. They stopped Schalke from doing anything, but look at the minimap. What's going on? This is so greedy. Of course someone is gonna be around to try and kill you. And now you just cost your team the advantage they just gained in the bottom lane.
Crucial mistake there from Odo Amne. Good punish from the side of Schalke, but... oh, man. Because then Corbett dies immediately afterwards, and now you've got a 4-1-0 Kai'Sa, Upset level 18. It was going to be a battle between the two AD carries in this final game, and right now it is Upset that's in the prime position to do it.
And the only explanation is that Oramne thought that all of Schalke would run bot lane and try and kill Xerxes and Copy, so he was going to catch the wave early mid and push it out. But he didn't know. He didn't see them.
Now Elder's alive, and both teams grouping up. Odo Amne backing? But he
Chasing on the Vander. Oh, the binding still connects. Xerxes going to get the knockback, but it goes to the side. It was blocked by the Unbreakable. And that means Vander was only knocked away. Chachi's still up in the top lane, pushing in. He's looking for the inhibitor.
Remember Splyce, they don't have any Drakes on their side, so Schalke are not too scared of them starting the Elder Drake. They're getting the push top lane. They will get a lot of damage on the turret. Splyce on the way back, and now Schalke can go down to the Elder Drake.
Odo backs away, doesn't have the teleport now. Xerxes needs to come down. Realm Warp used by Schalke to go for the Elder. Niski is here, but it's a 4v1 at the moment. The Elder goes down. Superb play once again from Schalke. Nullfit. Upset!
Oh, he does that way too much.
But it works out for him once again. Schalke.
Well, he gets away with his life.
He escapes, and that's exactly what he wanted to do. Schalke in such a good spot right now. 1 game away from semis, 1 game away from a matchup versus Vitality.
And all the cards right there, they called the bluff of Splyce when they moved down to the Elder Drake, said, yeah, you can get it. We take your base, you get absolutely nothing out of this. And Splyce had to run back to defend against Chachi to then see the Rise ulti used to secure it, and now it's a big objective for Schalke. They already got the mid inhib down. Chachi is once again just pushing top lane. See if they can actually get something else. Upset, he wants to get in and deal some damage. Copy, he's full items, almost there at least. But will he actually get a full-on 5-on-5 teamfight to use it?
Looking for the fight up towards the top side. Nukeduck tanking up the tower, but Odo Amne cannot close the gap yet. Chachi chucks a hammer to the back of the Gnar. Amazing in the midst of it all as well. But as you say, Deficio, it's a fight between the AD carries, the 2 players that have stuck with their teams. Kobe, part of the original Splyce roster. Upset, the player this team was built around, and this is their moment to shine. Schalke splitting up Splyce, get the inhibitor tower down in the top lane. Amazing's just pushing in that mid wave with the supers, but look at Upset down towards this bottom side, can go for that inhibitor tower as well.
Xerxes, no flash yet. He really needs it to force an engage that can stop Schalke from being in all 3 lanes, because that's always the way to do it. If you force that fight, they will come to you and try and fight against Kobe and Niski, but He used it bot lane to kill Nuke, which then sadly ended up completely backfiring for Splyce.
And remember that Splyce have not found a successful 5v5 fight this game. Schalke have just been playing the entire map. They snuck a Baron, they've been playing on the side lanes. They have not given Kobe the opportunity to be that big carry, to be the savior for Splyce and take them to the semi-finals. Schalke refuse to give Splyce that win condition and are so close to locking in that spot in Madrid.
It's within touching distance. Baron up in a minute. Schalke have a 12,000 gold lead. You've got a fully built Kai'Sa. You have a almost fully built Ryze as well. You are in such a good spot. And if you're Splyce right now, you're praying to whatever deity you believe in. You're praying that Niski hits a bubble. You're praying that Kobe somehow rains hell upon the members of Schalke, because at the moment, that is your only hope.
And let's remember now, Baron is spawning. Looks like the way back for Splyce, but Schalke don't actually have to do a whole lot around it. They already got super minions in 2 lanes. They're strong enough to play without the Baron buff and just get down that last turret in the bottom lane. If they do go towards it and Splyce is around, there is a potential opening. But can they actually get a 5-on-5, or will they just be forced to sit in 3 lanes and deal with super minions?
Oof, still such a tense game, even though Schalke maintain the majority of the map. The Baron is spawning in 10 seconds and Schalke primed and ready to do it, but as you said to Fisher, they don't need to. The inhibitor, I believe heard, is respawning soon. Not sure which one, but...
Mid lane one.
Mid lane.
Oh, good eyes. Thanks, Deficio. And now the Baron going to be set up from the side of Schalke. Splyce now just grouping up in mid, but look at the other 2 members of Schalke down bot.
Upset and Chachi down towards this bottom lane. They have the teleport on both of them if they need to join the fight. And what are Splyce going to do? They have to react, because otherwise you're losing this 3rd inhibitor tower. Upset just going to chunk it down. Odawamne on his way across.
Remember, there's TP on Upset as well, so both members can actually get to Baron, but here we go.
Flash in from Odawamne. Xerxes here on the flank. Hammer Shock does not connect, but look at this from Xerxes. Upset just turns it back around. He gets 1. Kobe gets the shutdown counter. Baron going down for Schalke. They're chasing onto Chachi. Kobe with the jump forward has the red buff for the slow, but Chachi still able to run away in time. And it doesn't look like Splyce can capitalize on this, because Vander's on his way. Meanwhile, in the top lane, they're going for the backdoor once again. Schalke just trying to play Splyce around the map. Vander and Chachi here, but Nuke is now in the base.
They're going to do it again. Schalke are looking to end the game. They still have the Baron. Now Amazing coming in for the flank.
Kobe needs to get away. He flashes into the Cataclysm. Kobe has to survive. He is somehow still alive, and Splyce's hopes survive the final fight from Schalke.
Oh, so close in these final moments, but Splyce just barely able to keep those Nexus turrets alive. Schalke secure themselves a Baron, but only 3 members walk away with it.
Schalke right there, they were ready to just go for bot lane turret and then try and get a safe Baron, but because Odamne flashed forward, used the Blade of the Ruined King, he got the fight against Upset, and then suddenly all of Splyce show up and secure a bunch of kills. And they didn't actually lose a Nexus turret, it just stayed alive. They lost the Baron, but they live to fight another day, and this death cap is soon completed on the Zoe.
And I just love the commitment from Splyce, because they said, you know what? We cannot split the map. We cannot play on the sides, and we can't just group up and try and stop you at Baron. So we're just going to commit to killing 2 people on a side lane. If we find those kills, then only 3 members have the Baron, and their split push is going to be weaker. Maybe then we can look to force a fight. Things get a little crazy because Schalke don't disengage. They actually try and end the game, and that allows Splyce to find themselves another kill. But in the end, it is still Schalke to walk away with the Baron, and Splyce still on the back foot.
Both carries without Flash, though. Nuke gonna Upset here on the side of Xerxes. Flash is available this time around. He's been looking for the engages. He's the only one who can really do it outside of Niski landing that big bubble. If that doesn't happen, Xerxes does not actually properly get onto Schalke. It still feels like they will just destroy a very squishy Gnar here in the late game.
Always talk about Zoe for Niski, but it's still 0-0-0 in this game. Needs to have a contribution if his team is going to survive, if his team's going to make it to semis. Chachi breaks the inhibitor tower in the bottom lane, and that inhibit mid is very low as well. The cannon is going to do the work here for Schalke. Looks like Splyce aren't going to be able to take it out in time. One more shot, there's the inhibitor down. Top wave, huge minion wave pushing in. Double supers there. Looking for the Baron buff up towards that top side. The Nexus tower, the target. Chachi gets the knock into the wall. The Gnar from Odo needs to be big, but it's not enough. And Upset gets 1. And now Splyce are fighting a 4v5, fighting for their lives in these summer split playoffs. This is their final moment because Schalke are not giving up. Amazing jumps into the backline first. Nexus tower goes down. And that is a very dead Gragas. Schalke are showing us that they are a force to be reckoned with. In their first ever playoffs, Schalke are going to semis.
The look of elation on this team's face. After game 3, things looked for Schalke. The look on their faces were, we are not going to be able to bounce this one back, but
They look destroyed.
they did. Emotionally, these guys look down and out, but they're able to pull it back. They took us to the full 5 games, and when it mattered most, they're able to find the big win.
They definitely showed us much better Baron setups in game 4 and 5. Upset with the Kaiser 2 games in a row. Looked very, very good. And in the end, this last game was won around Schalke and very, very good shot calling. Never allowing Splyce to get a proper 5-on-5 team fight. They just kept playing the map. Top lane, bot lane, everything. A lot of key moments as well. Looking back at that draft, Visit Chachi getting his puppy. They spent so much time trying to kill him. They got him once. The puppy set up the first Baron. Everything. Like, Chachi was so hard for him to deal with. And it bought a lot of time for Schalke.
And we look at the comfort picks on the other side. Zoe for Niski. We thought he would maybe be the game changer for Splyce, but 0-0-0 at the end of it all.
He gambled.
He did. It didn't have the impact he would have wanted, but great play all round from Schalke in their first ever playoffs, making it to Madrid, making it to semi-finals. They now have to work out how they're going to beat Team Vitality in semis.
Oh, yeah.
But they have a week to plan out that strategy.
And I gotta say, there's a lot of players on the Schalke lineup where people have a lot of questions regarding their performance when it really mattered.
Yep.
People look at Upset. We talked about this earlier in the series, how in the past he's not always been able to carry in a best of 5. People look to people like Vander and Nuke and say, these guys have been here before, but how often do they actually win the series? Well, now they did. They bounced back from a 2-1.
The last time Nuke was ever in a semi-final was 2013 with
Lemon Dogs.
A long, long time ago, and you can see how much it means to all the players. Amazing, looking to add that EU LCS title alongside his NA/LCS one, looking to go back to Worlds, but just not quite enough from Splyce today.
They tried, man. That's so many different ideas in the pick and ban phase. I think we saw 5 different AD carries from them. We get the nerfed Zoe in a game 5, last picked in the draft. So they had a lot of ideas, but in the game itself, they kind of played the same way in most of them. And once they fell behind, they were hoping and waiting for late game moments. And when that happens, you can't make crucial mistakes. But Splyce and Odo Amne getting caught out.
Yep.
Definitely cost them a lot here. Schalke, they move on. They play against Vitality. You know what? I think it's going to be another very, very close BO5 between these two teams, but different styles.
Yeah.
Not like Splyce and Schalke, where both of them are happy going to late game. Vitality, they're going to come in very strong and very aggressive.
Very much about the early game there, but looking back at this series, you have to wonder who you think deserves player of the series. Is it Nuke, Upset, or Vander? All 3 of them have a wealth of reasons to pick them. Hit us up on @LollySports on Twitter with your answer.
We've got to look at the main carry in game 4 when the team was down, when they needed a win. It was the AD carry.
I mean, Nuke still had an incredible performance that game. He went
sure.
like 5-1 on the Akali. His Rise backdoor with the Realm Warp in game 1 as well. I mean, Upset was there with him, but I think you can do a lot of arguments. Then Vander's Alistar was absolutely godly as well.
It was perfect.
So I think there's a lot of arguments for all 3 of those players. In Madrid, the 8th and 9th of September, you can watch Schalke, Fnatic, Vitality, and the winner of tomorrow's quarterfinal, Misfits or G2, play on that big stage. Go get your tickets at eu.lollysports.com/Madrid 2018. You can also check out our 254 cinema viewing parties in 30 countries all across Europe at eu.lollysports.com/cinemas. That's all in lowercase. But to hear more about Schalke's win, let's head on over to Quick Shot for the interview.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I'm joined here by Chachi and Upset. Chachi, the grin has been ear to ear since you've come and sat down. What does it mean to you to win that series?
I mean, it was such a tough series because it went all 5 games, and the official told me at the beginning when I talked with him that he expects it to go at 5 games. And I was like a bit skeptical about it, but it actually happened. And Splyce was closer to win this series, but once we realized that what's important is our gameplay and we focused more on that, I think we were back on track.
Talk to me, Upset, about how that game was for you. A lot of pressure. We saw the Ezreal, we saw the Kai'Sa. Over the 5 games, what are you feeling when you look back?
I definitely felt really bad after game 2 because I had my best champion and usually I do really well on Ezreal, but even though I was winning lane and pressuring a lot, at some point I did a lot of sloppy mistakes that I wouldn't do in the regular season, so I was getting a bit worried and felt quite bad, especially after we lost the 3rd game as well. But then I realized that I didn't get worse just over these 2 games, and if I play to my strengths, I can still show that I'm really good, and I think my Kai'Sa definitely helped us a lot.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that over the course of the series. I want to go back to how the series started. We go all the way back to game 1. It was super even. It was super slow. It was actually the lowest kill game of the summer split. It shocked us a little bit. And then we get to this crazy base race. Who made the call? And, what was communication like? Let's start with Chachi.
It was actually pretty clear for us. I'm not entirely sure who made the call. Probably Nuke mentioned that we can TP.
Yeah, Nuke mentioned. I called it on there.
Yeah, and then all of us just jumped on it and told that this is the plan now. So if the enemy starts the dragon, we just go for it.
Upset, don't lie to me. Was it calm and collected, or was it crazy and we can do it, we can do it?
It was actually quite calm, I think. I was sweating a bit because I was TPing next to Ana and Gragas, I think. But the brush was not walled, so we win this time, I guess.
Dude, you have such a cheeky grin. How close were you to potentially throwing if that teleport had been interrupted?
I mean, we would have lost, I think, if it wasn't interrupted, but I kind of thought I didn't have a ward, so I just flipped a coin, and got heads.
Flip a coin, it landed where you wanted it to.
Yeah.
Let's step back from the series and talk a little bit about what was it like coming into this? I think there was a huge amount of expectation, a huge amount of pressure. A lot of hype has been around, Schalke all year long. Didn't make playoffs in spring, and now you're in the semi-finals. Chachi, did you feel that pressure and expectation internally and externally?
I actually didn't feel that much of a pressure, even though, for me as well, this playoffs is like something that I haven't had for a while, and for the others as well. But other than that, I felt well prepared for the match because our week of practice was really good as well. But I think a lot came down to adaptation during the series because it's actually really important to find the power picks during a best of 5 and adapt well. And that's what we managed to do later on.
Yeah, it definitely seemed to be the case. And what about yourself, Upset? One of the sort of prodigy AD carries. There was a lot of pressure in spring coming in and seen your growth throughout the year. But how have you personally felt?
I didn't feel that pressured anymore after spring split because it couldn't get worse than this. So I just wanted to go all out and show what I can do today. I didn't feel that pressured, but I think we still managed to play worse than usual. At least our week of practice was very good, and today we played fine, but I think we have a lot of stuff to look over again and improve for the semi-finals because Vitality is definitely a really strong team and we have to prepare as much as possible.
Yeah, definitely going to be the case. Only a couple more questions for you to PGL. Let's look forward to those semi-finals. I think it's exciting. Schalke versus Vitality. There's a lot of history between the teams and a lot of the players. Upset versus Attila. There's this sort of little bubbling rivalry that's growing a little bit. What does that mean to you, looking forward, knowing that you've played against these guys so many times and there's this edginess between the two teams?
I mean, for me, it's always fun to play versus these guys because we have been playing against each other since Challenger Series, and it's always a very close game. I lost most of the time, so this time I hope to turn that record around on them. But yeah, I think with Botlane improved a lot. Before I didn't really see them as a threat. I thought their top set was just really good, but now they play better as well, so I'm excited for this.
Got it. I'm looking forward to it as well. Chachi, last question to you. We've been hearing Year of Nukeduck a lot. This was a gift that Deficio has been carrying around and looking after, okay? We've been talking a little bit about the summer of Schalke. How far are you and Schalke 04 going this summer?
I would say all the way to the finals is something.
See, they want more confidence. They want more confidence. Try to get with the,
all the way to the finals.
There we go. That's
and first place.
There we go. That's what I wanted to get. Gentlemen, congratulations on the win. It was one hell of a series. We're going to head to Sharks and Crew for post-game lobby.
We did it.
GG, guys. GG. GG.